Okay, so this is the final part of the tutorial, and in this part we're going to dry brush the waves and pretty much finish off. This has been left for almost an hour because there are other things to do, so it's as dry as it's going to get. It's still kind of a little bit malleable, but you can move it around, but you're not going to be able to sculpt it anymore. So I'm going to paint it now and we'll see how it goes. Okay. So the two paints I'm using is, initially I'm going to use again the RC417, which is off-white matte by Humbrol, and I'm going to use white. It's actually Bob Ross's stuff. I just have some of that left over, so I'm going to use it up. And that's oil paint. Okay, I've left it on for the hour and you can see that the oil is starting to come out of it, which will make it quicker to dry. Okay, so the trick with this is we're going to dry brush everything. Okay, and then at the end with the foam we're going to use the oils in more specific areas. Okay, so get yourself one of these types of brushes, a hard bristle, okay, the cheapest one you can find. Okay, dip it into your paint, get most of the paint off. I'll show you here, get most of the paint off it. Okay, alright. Then we're going to go in here and we're just going to start just touching the tops of the waves and stuff like that, okay? So I'm actually going to turn this light off, maybe you might be able to see it a bit better. Okay. So you're literally just barely touching the tops of the waves. Okay, I'll move it for you so you can maybe see it a bit better. Okay, so there's very little paint. Very little paint on this. And essentially what you're trying to do is just catch the top of each wave, and you want the actual silicone to represent water. So just keep dry brushing. It's really very little paint. The wave coming over the rocks. So you just keep adding until you don't want to add any more, essentially. Okay, so I'm going to just try a little piece of the oil paint. Okay, and dry brush. Again, you're going to go for the top of the waves this time. Okay, the oil paint is certainly a lot brighter, so use the oil paint where you've more white water. I'm just going to put this down for a sec. Where you've more white water. On the rocks, if you just spot here and there, it'll actually give you the impression of kind of foam Same here. And you just build up your layers as you go. Quite a large wave coming over that. Okay, at the side. You're really just trying to get the excuse me, get the tips of the waves on each part. If you come here and just put a little spot here and there, when that settles down and cools down, you can obviously wipe it off there if you're not happy. That'll give the impression that foam is on the actual rocks themselves, even though there's no silicone there. That'll give that impression. Okay. If you want to use enamel instead, fine, I'm sure it'll work out. I'm just using this because I'm spare and I want to get rid of it. Okay. Connecting that to the home roll. The home roll is slightly more, it's grayer than the other one. So as you're painting on, you can see that the waves actually start to highlight. Just going to get a more thicker white just to catch the very tops of those waves, because that's obviously where foam is going to be. Okay, same here, one there, here. Again, this kind of stippling kind of thing as well gives a bit of movement. See in here, there's stuff that I've missed, so I'm just kind of giving that a kind of a stippling effect. Looks a bit pale. And so you just continue to build up as you go along until you're happy with what you have, and then that's it, pretty much. Just actually going to hit those ones there at the side here. I've noticed a lot at the side here that I've missed. So, same again, just building up your layers. You can see here, if you just spackle it like that, you get that kind of effect of there's foam hitting off thing, but it's actually just paint hitting off it because there's nothing there except the Das Modeler's clay. Okay, that's looking pretty much finished to me. Do leave some dark areas, the shadows, because it's light and shadow, and if the water is moving, that's what you're going to get, light and shadow. Here's just the water is kind of calmer here, so plus I haven't put too much of the silicone. What you can do then, if you get like even a smaller brush, if you want, you can, you know, start picking out certain parts. If that's what you want to do. Okay. whiter in there, because it's going to be, the water's going to be actually coming over. It's hitting here, going backwards, but coming over, forwards this way. So you kind of want to get a bit more white in there. Okay, that for me is enough for me. So I'll just zoom in and show you. So there you go. So that's the effect you get. There's your wave crashing over. Little rock is nearly completely engulfed. A lot of movement, a lot of waves crashing against that. Every time you do it, it's going to be different. You'll never get two the exact same. There's the big wave hitting there. Okay. There's the rock face. Water hitting that. So I'm going to turn on the light here. Sorry. And what'll happen then is you'll get light and dark hitting. So there's your wave coming over the back. So you can see through the silicone, which gives you the impression of water. That's it. Okay. The final stage then is to add some of that, which is clear nail varnish, to the edges, kind of around here, and that'll give you the impression of wetness, but you know, you can do as you wish. And final look, there you go, turn around. That's it, no secret. There you go, fast moving water.